Welcome to part 2 of the 1/16 scale Pontiac Firebird build-up. I do believe in part 1 I did say that I was thinking about lighting this kit. However, I did change my mind on that one, mainly because this particular kit doesn't really lend itself that well at all to being lit up. So I'm not going to bother with it, to be fair. I'm not going to bother with lighting. I think it will just be quite nice to build a simple car with no extra added parts to it or anything. So hopefully it won't take me too long to deal with. There are a few bits and pieces that I do need to do to this vehicle though. First, the body as well. I think I said in the first part as well that I wasn't going to do it in black because I didn't want it looking like Knight Rider, but again I've changed my mind on that. This car is going to be black. So you know, it is one of those times where I'm changing my mind on everything. But yeah, so this is basically the body of the car. It's not in too bad shape actually, to be fair. I haven't really seen too many mold lines on this at the moment. There are some areas around the front fenders that will need to be done, as there are some sharp edges around there, and I can't really feel anything around the sides, but I will go around all of the edges anyway, and sand them down. There are also some little marks, sink marks in the rear fender there, but there isn't on that side. So I just need to go around and look at those, take care of all of those little bits and pieces, whilst the body is still like this. Once I've done those particular parts, I am going to cut the roof off because I do want to get the T-top put in there, and I will also try and smooth this part out here as well and get rid of the injector pin marks there. Once those two parts have been done, I'll then remove these parts here, and then hopefully we can just sort of tidy up everything. And then we've got these parts in here that need to be removed. I'm not really sure why that they've put those in there, to be fair, but they do need to be removed, and everything tidied up. I'm also going to be using this hood rather than the other one, and again I'm not sure, but it's a little, the plastic's a little bit thin there on this one. I don't think it's gonna, I don't think you can see through. I can't feel anything there, to be quite honest, but yeah, the plastic is a little bit thin there, so I'm just going to need to straighten up the edges on this as well, and obviously do the bumpers, etc. And I will also take the doors, or the outer door skin. I will take those off of the sprue and paint those separately as well. Everything will be sprayed down, or I will prime this because I've got some decals going on there, and because it is black paint, I want to try and get the bodywork as smooth as possible, because the thing with black paint, as we all know, is that it's going to show up any imperfections in the paintwork or on the body. So I do kind of need to ensure that everything is as smooth as possible. So there's going to be a little bit of work on this to do before we can get it up to that kind of level. And again, as always with myself, I always like to start on the body, get the body done, get that completely painted, get it lacquered, and then just let it sit and dry. And whilst that's happening, I'll then just move over to the rest of the, you know, putting the engine together, etc., and then doing all the chassis work and whatnot. So the bodywork's got a good amount of time to dry. So I'm just gonna get these few bits done that need to be done, and as soon as that's done, I will come back to you. So we've got everything sanded down now. We've also had to fill in some little sinkholes on the rear spoiler, and also injector pin marks on the T-top part, and also a sinkhole that was on the side of the car just there. Now, you could say, I don't know which way it is at the moment, actually, to be fair. I don't know whether I've been incredibly brave or incredibly stupid, but the panels that were in the door gaps on both sides, I've removed along with the T-top. So at the moment the car's very, very weak and it flops about a bit. So again, as I say, I don't know whether I'm brave or stupid on that one, but that's how I've done it. I needed really to get in there and where all the tabs were located, clean up and get rid of all the sharp edges, because this had flash all over it, especially in those areas. So I kind of had to get them out to do what I needed to do anyway. I mean, before I took these parts out, I did actually take the roof section out for the T-top, so I was able to work on that first without really doing anything, and then I just removed this one first and then cleaned that up as best as I could, and then took the other one out and cleaned that one up as best as I could as well, and kind of had my toes crossed at the time whilst I was doing it, because I was too busy with my hands working on that to cross my fingers. So the next stage for me is to put the Alclad primer filler on there. It's black as well, so that does help, and because it is got the micro filler in there as well, if there are any kind of like scratches or dinks in there that we've missed, that will fill them in. I'll put kind of 2, possibly 3 coats on the body depending on how it goes. Once that's done, I will then need to just gently sand it down with a 1500 grit sandpaper. Once that's been done, I will then be able to go along with the gloss black, and that's a Zero Paints gloss black. I'll be able to go along with that and then get all those parts sprayed. Even though it's a gloss black, I will still put a lacquer coat over the top of it. It's just that is going to help when it comes to putting the decals on. I'll be able to put the decals onto a gloss surface, so there will be no silvering from them, because there are quite a few decals that need to go on the outside. And then once the decals are on, I'll then be able to sort of go over the whole lot really then with the clear gloss 2K. So that's about it for the moment, I think. What I'm going to do is just get all of the well, get the T-top in, that's the most important part, get that in, get some form of strength back into the body, and then I just need to go around and paint everything. So as soon as I've got all that bit done, I will come back to you. We've now got all of the main parts of the body, including the chassis, painted in the black primer, which is the Alclad lacquer primer. It's also got a micro filler in it. Every surface has had 3 coats of lacquer over it, just sorry, the primer over it, just to make sure that we've got a good even coverage. I can't actually see when I'm looking at the parts. I mean, it's hard to see anyway because it's all black at the moment, but I can't actually see any issues at all in the paintwork, which is always good news. However, just to be on the safe side, I will just be gently wet sanding the all of the parts with a 1500 wet and dry sandpaper, just to make sure that everything is smooth. And on this one, on this particular build, I've kind of decided that I'm going to kind of do this as though it was a restoration project that somebody undertook. And they just decided that the whole of the car needs to be done in gloss colours. So even the chassis itself will be done in gloss. Apart from the chassis components, and like, you know, the fuel tank and stuff like that, they'll be done in their normal colours, but the actual chassis itself will be done to sort of like a high gloss standard as well, and then the rest of it can just be taped off and done like that. See, I can never remember what this part is actually called. It's silly, innit? I've watched so many car programs and they always tell you what that part is, and I can never remember what it is. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So all the main parts of the body will be done in a gloss black. All of the wiring, cabling, etc., will be done in like a rubber black to simulate those, and these will be done in kind of like maybe a matte black or something like that, or a mixture of matte black and semi matte black to kind of get that powder coat effect, I suppose. But that's the kind of way that I'm thinking of taking this particular build, just for a little bit of fun. I think it'd be nice to do that, considering we're not doing any lighting on this or anything else. It'd be nice just to sort of like change it up a bit and concentrate on maybe a little bit more detail rather than the lighting side. But certainly it's going to be a clean car. I'm not really going to do a car with sort of like a daily driver. I might try and do a little bit of heat staining to the exhaust system if I can. Give that a go. I've never actually done that before, so it's, you know, we give that a go, see what happens. I might test it out on a few other bits and pieces first, just to see if I can do it. You know, but yeah, we'll soon see as to whether that works or not. But yeah, I'm going to just get these parts lightly sanded, make sure that the body is really smooth before we put the gloss down. So as soon as that's all done and the gloss is on and it's looking good, I will come back to you. So we've got all the painting finished now for the body. What I've actually done with this as well is, because we all know that black is one of the hardest colours to actually get right, and it's also one of those colours that shows up just about every single blemish that you have. So what I've done is I've been going along, I mean, as you know, I've put a few layers of the black primer with microfiller in it, and then I've sanded that down until it was completely smooth, and then I've put a layer of the gloss paint over the top, and then I've waited for that to dry completely, so I left it for 24 hours, then come back, sanded that down with a 2500 grit wet and dry paper, then put another layer on, then left it for another day, gone back, sanded it down with 2500, then put the third and final coat on, and then gone in with a 300 grit paper, again 24 hours later, and then just given it a gentle buff down with that, just to make sure that there are no to make sure that there are no imperfections in the paintwork, and it seems to have worked. We've got a light sheen, as you can most probably hopefully see by that. You can still see that there's a bit of shininess to it, but they're absolutely as smooth as a baby's bum. So we've done that to all the parts, including the body, which is just there, as you can see. So that's looking quite good as well. The next thing for me to do now really is get the decals on, and there's quite a few of them that need to go on. As you can see there, the only ones that I'm not going to put on yet are the license plates, but the rest of them I will put on. Now with these, some of these are going to go around not only just the bumpers but also some of the bodywork as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the bumpers to the body and also the doors, but not permanently. I'm just going to get them in there and get them into place properly, and then just put some masking tape on those just so they don't fall off. Then I'll be able to get the decals on, let them dry for sort of 2 days or whatever, and then just before I remove the bumpers and the doors, where I need to, I can actually cut the decal and then fold that around if need be, just by using the microsole, and then hopefully that'll be fine. And then I'll just give it then another sort of like day or so just to make sure that the decals have settled down and are completely dry, and then I can use the 2K clear gloss on the all of the parts to get those all nice and shiny and ready, and then I'll be able to move on to the rest of the build. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it here. I don't know how long this video is actually, to be quite honest. So we might actually, in this video, I'm not sure whether we're going to see the bodywork complete to the point where we've got the decals in and the gloss down, or whether that's going to be in the next video. I'm not quite sure at the moment. I'm just going to need to take a look and see how much or see how long the film's going to be, or the video update's going to be with all this stuff in. So I'll either be back in a second or I will be back in the next video. I'm not quite sure yet, but we'll soon see.